We got nighttime files, man, on this beautiful Friday. We're trying to go on hurry up because wrestling finna come on. So make sure y'all give me a thumbs up, man. Even if you don't like it, leave a hate comment. I don't care what you do. You feel me? I'm gonna respond back. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, nighttime files, man. Let's get into it, bro.
Some years ago, my 4-year-old stepson Robbie had a birthday. We got him a few presents, along with cake and ice cream.
I got a lot of step kids.
That day, my husband and I began to notice that Robbie had issues.
Real shit.
He went crazy over a toy car being the wrong color by slamming it on the table and cursing at us.
Oh.
After that, his behavior became more aggressive and scared us both.
My child.
But one day, my husband was called to a school where he's pre-K. Robbie was hitting other students with toys, and he hit one student with a chair.
Oh.
Because of that, he was kicked out.
Well, damn.
His behavior became worse. So we admitted him into a psychiatric hospital.
Oh,
we felt bad.
Already?
We also felt like we didn't have any other choice.
Already?
So we moved forward. Robbie got out, and when he did, he changed. He used to be a happy-go-lucky kid.
That because y'all put him in a psych ward, my guy? Who would change? Shit.
Until he was mad, but the happy-go-lucky kid was not there anymore. At this point, he's older.
I done had a life, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
He was physically intimidating to me.
Psych ward ain't where y'all.
One time I told him to do a chore and he didn't listen to me. He got in my face and he told me that if I told him what to do again, then I would regret it. There were so many times when he would disobey me.
Fuck you,
so Robbie's sister, my oldest, she got a job at a restaurant. And she believed that Robbie was stealing her tips and her cash from her wallet and her money stash. So one day I approached Robbie about it as he was walking out of the house with his book bag. I asked him if I could see inside of his bag, and I tried to get it from him. He wouldn't let go, and we began to tussle with the bag. By doing so, I accidentally scratched his face with my wedding ring. We both stopped immediately as I apologized. He looked extremely angry. He grabbed his bag, walked up to me very close and said, "Bitch, if you ever touch me again, I'll kill you. I'll record it, and I'll give it to my father." That same day, he told his friend's father in the school that I abused him. He really wanted me out of that house because he wanted his real mother to come back. He also told his friends that the only way that this is going to end was with me in a body bag. A few days later, while he was at school, I saw that he carved something on his dresser. It said, "Kill her." In that same dresser, he had a collection of pocket knives. And that was the last straw for me. I went to my husband and I told him that I didn't feel safe and that Robbie has to go.
He gotta go.
We called a psychiatrist and let her know that Robbie couldn't be trusted in the house anymore.
Yeah, no.
She let us know that we have to call the cops in order to get him out of that house. So we did. I felt so bad about it, but they came and took him. The way he looked at us as he left was horrifying. So we visited him weekly in the group home. Over time, we tried to figure out what was wrong with him, but no one could figure out what it was. When we visited him, we noticed that he began to enjoy drawing. He was really good at it. I never knew he was a good artist. But the thing is, the pictures were of the family being killed by him. So 4 years went by of him going to a psychiatrist and nothing changed.
Michael Myers shit.
I actually got worse.
Yeah, some Halloween shit.
He hated me. And I knew at some point he was going to be released from the group home.
Yeah.
And the only place that he could go was our house.
Damn.
The only thing that I thought was the right thing to do was for me to leave. So I left and we got a divorce. With me out of the picture, Robbie went home to his dad after being in that group home for 5 years. I kept in contact with my ex-husband, Ronnie. When Robbie got back, he was under a strict routine every day with his dad. He was doing better. But once he turned 18, he moved out on his own. He had a job, girlfriend, his own place to stay.
Probably with all he needed.
Everything was okay. Well, that's what we all thought.
Oh shit, come on.
On December 5th, 2007, I was called by my ex-husband. He was crying and he said it's true. It was Robbie. I didn't know what he was talking about. What happened is that there was a shooting at the West Roads Mall. Robbie entered the mall, and he went into Von Maur department store, and he killed 8 people. Then he turned the gun on himself. That whole situation broke my heart, and it scarred my family along with those who were killed. I will never forget what I went through with Robbie because I could have been one of his victims.
I built my credit with my rent payment for free thanks to Sal.
I stumbled on this game-changing credit.
Y'all see the signs, man? Please. If y'all see the signs early, please get your child some help. Please don't try to give up on them. Cause Lord, growing up as a kid, boy, my mom, I ain't gonna lie, my mom strong. Cause I put her through so much. Cause her and my grandma. Jesus Christ, when I was growing up, boy, and my granddaddy, I put them all through so much shit, bro. It's ridiculous. No cap. Please.
When I was in high school, there was just one boy in my class who was very weird looking. Most of the other kids were afraid of him, and everybody kept out of his way. He always kept to himself and never spoke to anyone. His name was Craig, but we gave him the nickname Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes.
He had the strangest eyes you ever seen. They were large, round, bugged out, and disturbing. They didn't look.
Oh no, it's this shit. Come on, Nightmare, man.
When I was in high school, there was just one boy in my class who was very weird looking. Most of the other kids were afraid of him. Everybody kept out of his way. He always kept to himself and never spoke to anyone. His name was Craig, but we gave him the nickname Crazy Eyes. He had the strangest eyes you ever seen. They were large, round, bugged out, and disturbing. They didn't look human. It was as if they belonged to some sort of exotic reptile, like a chameleon or a lizard. During class, he remained completely silent, never asking or answering any questions. I got the impression that the teachers were scared of him as well. All he did was stare at everyone with his bug-out eyes, creeping them all out with the unsettling gaze of his. One Monday morning, we had a media class. The teacher split us up into groups and gave us the task of making a short film.
Damn, that last
Due to the level of drive, Craig was assigned to our group. But we gathered around and discussed ideas. He kept his mouth tightly shut, and he just stared at all of us with his big-ass eyes. We eventually came up with an idea of a slasher movie. The plot involved a crazed killer who goes around the school stabbing people. Craig was so odd-looking that we all decided that he should play the killer. His crazy eyes made him the obvious choice. As it turned out, the movie was a huge success. We managed to create a 5-minute film that looked almost as professional as a Hollywood horror flick. Surprisingly, Craig did a great job in his role as the killer. We shot hours of footage of him stalking the school grounds, running from tree to tree. He was armed with a fake knife that had a retractable blade. Then we filmed him stabbing a bunch of kids who were all playing victims. They were soaked from head to toe with fake blood. Taking part in the movie really seemed to bring Craig out of his shell. He took to acting like a fish to water. When filming was complete, we all noticed a big change in his personality. Somehow, it boosted his confidence, and although he still didn't talk very much, he held his head up high and seemed more sure of himself. On Friday, when we screened the film for the entire class, they loved it and started chanting, "Craig, Craig, Craig." That day, he was the most popular kid in the class, and he seemed to revel in the attention. However, when Monday morning arrived, Crazy Eyes Craig was nowhere to be seen. He didn't show up for school, and nobody seemed to know where he was. And for the rest of the week, he was absent from school. That weekend, I was at home, working on an assignment for school. I overheard
it's not my shit that's tripping.
About an attempted murder that had happened in our town. Shocked, I glanced up from my work. When I set eyes on the picture, they were showing on a TV screen. A chill ran down my spine. It was Craig. His humongous, crazy eyes stared at me from the TV screen as the news reporter continued with the story. Apparently, he had been stalking his next-door neighbor. She was a 16-year-old girl named Leanne. She, her younger sister, and her mother had been home alone while her father was away on business. The two girls stayed up late to watch a horror movie on TV. It was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Imagine.
During the movie, they started to notice something strange. They opened a box of cereal and took two bowls into the living room to eat. But when Leanne went back into the kitchen, she found that the box was empty. When the movie finished, the girls went upstairs to get ready for bed. Leanne opened her bedroom closet and found Craig standing there, holding a hatchet. He was dressed in her mother's clothes and had makeup smeared all over his face.
That nigga psycho.
He told her to be quiet and he tied her up. He fetched her mother and sister and marched them back into the bedroom. He tied them up as well, and he left all three lying on the floor.
Watch who y'all.
He was going to kill them.
Surround yourself with.
So they had better start praying. The police said he went down.
He been wanting to do that shit. That motherfucker sound crazy as fuck to me.
Stairs and ransacked the house, and he stole valuables. When he was gone, the youngest girl managed to wiggle free. She jumped out of the window and ran to the nearby house. Within minutes, the police were breaking down the front door. They ran up the stairs with their guns drawn and found Leanne and her mother lying hogtied on the bedroom floor. There was no sign of Crazy Eyes Craig. The police freed the mother and the daughter before conducting a search of the entire house.
Good thing he killed him.
They combed the place from top to bottom, but couldn't find any trace of Craig. It was as if he had vanished into the night.
Craig on bullshit.
In fact, nobody had any idea where Craig was. And while he was still at large, no one in town could rest easy. The incident was a huge shock for our small town. Before that, it had been peaceful. Nobody ever locked their doors. That night, I watched my father screwing two sturdy deadbolts onto our front and back doors.
Valid.
On Monday morning, it was the talk of the school. None of the kids could believe what had happened, and everyone was terrified. At the back of the school building, there was a huge forest, and rumors spread among the kids that Craig was hiding in the woods, lying in wait for more victims. Some kids were too scared to show up for class.
Scary.
Leanne and her family stayed with relatives for a few days to get away from the house. And all that time, law enforcement combed the woods and searched house to house, but nobody could find this crazy-eyed maniac. Eventually, Leanne and her family had to go home. As soon as they pulled into their driveway, they saw something that terrified them. Craig was standing at an upstairs window, gazing out at them, with a smirk on his face.
What type of Michael?
The girl's father started yelling. The neighbors came running over. The police were called, and within minutes, they were surrounding the house. A SWAT team were readying themselves beside a van, loading their weapons and studying the layout of the house. They searched the house from top to bottom.
Nighttime, you look how fuck what you got. I would have been that shit off.
They were confronted by a disturbing scene. Pennies were glued to the ceiling. There was strange writing all over the walls. All of their clothes had been cut to shreds.
What the fuck?
The entire contents of the kitchen fridge were neatly arranged on the living room floor, and the whole place reeked of urine and feces. The police conducted another thorough search of the house, but it turned up nothing. Just when they were about to give up and go home, one of the cops mentioned that he thought he had heard a faint noise when he was in the basement. He said it sounded like it was coming from behind a washing machine. The SWAT team immediately reorganized, and they descended cautiously into the basement. With their guns drawn, they pulled the washing machine away from the wall and curled up in the hole behind it. They found Craig. As it turned out, the truth was much more disturbing than anyone had imagined. Leanne and her family were horrified. For 2 whole years, Craig had been living in their walls. They found peepholes everywhere.
What the fuck?
While Leanne and her family had been sitting at home watching TV, eating dinner, taking a shower, getting dressed, going to the toilet, sleeping peacefully in their beds. Craig had been there the entire time, silently, watching them.
That's a different type of
with his
scary.
crazy bugged out eyes.
When you don't know you being stalked, that's scary. That's scary, cuz.
When emergencies happen, get back on track with Migraine.
Nah, that's my shit. What the fuck?
I know we've only known each other a short while, but I just feel it.
Yeah, my bad, y'all. That's my shit going on. I don't know what the fuck. Oh, that's my shit.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was
My bad, bro. My bad, y'all. My bad, like,
bad as
oh
the
my
east side
God,
of our
bro.
city. I live on the west side of Cleveland. In the early 2000s, I was a teenager and I had a very close friend. I'll call her Lisa for this. Lisa and I were always together, but she also had a friend who would be with her, but I was pretty new to this area. I wasn't close with her. Her actual name was
I ain't
Gina.
even edited that
So
out.
Lisa and Gina had a close relationship. That is, until Gina went missing. Gina, along with a few other people in our neighborhood, went missing at the same time. Well, at least around the same time. It was sort of a big deal, and we all were part of search parties. I always went with Lisa and her dad. After Gina went missing, I would always go to Lisa's mother's house or her father's house with her. They were separated, so it was two different houses,
Right.
by the way. My father always had parties and barbecues, and I even spent the night over his house with her. The thing is, his house was pretty weird. We always thought it was haunted.
But you spent the night.
Throughout the night, I would hear footsteps, babies crying, and doors open and shut. What freaked me out the most about his house is that he had multiple doors that had padlocks on them. We weren't allowed to go in the basement.
That nigga weird
People in
already.
the neighborhood made up rumors about the house. It was said that there were women who were brought outside with chains around their feet or around their ankles, and they were put into this van in his backyard from time to time. I didn't believe it because he was such a nice guy. Then there was this one day. He came off kind of suspect to me. I went to one of the corner stores after school to buy a pop, and as I was leaving, Lisa's dad pulled up next to me. He asked me to get in his truck so I didn't have to walk home. What he doesn't know is that my mother had recently told me to stay away from him because of the rumors. Because of that, I told him that I'm fine. He insisted that I get in his truck. He told me that Lisa was at his house, and he'll take me to see her. But he must not have known his own daughter's schedule because I knew that she was still at school. I had something to do after school.
Damn.
I told him again that I was okay, and I could walk. And then he pulled up in front of me. He got out, and he came onto the sidewalk. I stopped and he touched my arm while telling me that I don't need him to come with him. By coincidence,
Hey, I not like seeing that shit.
and he took his hand off of me.
Nightmare, you
He
funny
walked away
man.
and he pulled off. But I never told Lisa about what happened for a few years until everyone found out
Nightmare, bro.
something very bad. One day while Lisa's father was out running errands, a lot of people surrounded his house. There was a lot of people from the street, and then the cops came. What happened is that there was a girl named Amanda, and she escaped from his house, along with her young daughter. Once the cops showed up, they figured out that there were two more people in the house.
What the fuck?
One of them was our friend Gina. She had been missing for 10 years. The story made national news. My friend's father's name was Ariel Castro. He kidnapped Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight, and he held them captive in his house for 10 years.
Yeah, I remember this story.
I'm so glad I didn't go with him that day. I always wondered
Damn.
if I got in his truck with him years ago.
I didn't realize that was the dude on the fucking thumbnail. But when I heard the story about 10 years and all that, I caught on instantly, man. That is fucking crazy. And my fault for the second story. That's my bad. I hope that y'all still watching this video, cause giveaway at 6K. Make sure y'all give you a thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm, and it really helps pushing my video out to other people and newer views. That being said, see you when I see y'all, man. Let's ride. I might do another video. I don't know. Y'all might need 3 to pick on.